beautifuls, welcome to the Man Reads BookTube channel. If you're finding my content for the first time, welcome. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you give me a like and subscribe to the channel. So, what I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be doing a small recap of Heaven's Official Blessing from the prologue to chapter 4. So, if you haven't seen any of my previous videos, you could go and check them out now, so that way you can get caught up for when we read chapter 5 again. And hopefully you can, enjoy that content as well. Make sure to give them likes and leave some comments down below so you know if you like them or not. If you're wondering about the mask, I'm okay. It's just that someone in my family is quarantining in my home, so that's why this is on. But I'm okay, so don't worry. All right, well, let's just get into it. So, in the prologue, we meet Xie Lian, who's ascended heaven, who's ascended heaven for about the third time. He's the only, as far as we know, he's the only god that's ever managed to do that. And so we learn about some of his feats. We learn he came from the kingdom of Danmei, and we learn that he was a very, not want to say spoiled, but yeah, I mean, he was a crown prince, he was the only son, so of course, there was a level of arrogance there, as you would find normally. We also learn about his feats. We also learn about the first time he ascended to heaven. He ascended into heaven when he was like 17, so really young, really young. We learned that, unfortunately, there was some chaos back home, and he wanted to fix it, but it ended up not working out that way, so he got thrown out of heaven. Then he ascended again, but that only lasted one incense time, which is like a day around there, so it's not very long, and so he got kicked out again. And then now we meet him again for the third time. This is his third ascension, basically. So that happened in the prologue. And then in chapter 1, the Scrap Immortal enters the heavenly citadel, capital. So after he ascends the third time, we meet Lin Wen, who runs kind of like the heaven intelligence office. Like, she knows everything, basically. The other important characters that we meet are General Mu Yin and Nan Feng, and respectively, they actually used to serve Xie Lian in the mortal realm, but they've now ascended and have surpassed Xie Lian, who spent his years on Earth like collecting scraps and busking. We figured that out, or we learned that. So as you imagine, it was pretty awkward meeting, those two again. He actually didn't even remember Mu Ying, which is also even more awkward, considering that he actually, almost hit him when he ascended into heaven the third time. So, but in order to repay those damages, he has to give an obscene amount of merits that he doesn't have. Merits are like prayers. So, like, when mortals pray to the gods get merits, and that's like the currency that they use there. So he, in order to get some merits, he accepts his first mission in the mortal realm to investigate these missing brides. So yeah, and then that was chapter 1, and then chapter 2 is 3 clowns' night discussions on the palace of tremendous masculinity. So we meet up with the 2 minor officials from the temple of Mu Yin and the temple of Nan Feng. They have volunteered to help the crown prince figure out what's happening on Naoyuyan. Nan Feng and Fu Yao don't get along at all. They're very antagonistic towards each other, so it's not exactly the best team. But they managed to kind of work together in some points. Um, so then we kind of find out a funny story about why the Temple of Muying earned its name of Temple of Tremendous Masculinity and why women pray to it. So it's pretty funny. And then they come up with a plan to lure out the ghost groom that's been kind of terrorizing Mount Yuyan for a really long time, apparently. And then, so in the third chapter, the ghost takes a bride. The crown prince mounts the sedan. We meet Yao Ying, who's very timid, very. She's described as very ugly girl, but she helps the land kind of transform into a bride. Um, and they hear, oh, Zilan in the bridal sedan hears a very creepy nursery rhyme. Like a little child starts singing it. And then they start getting ambushed by some minor demons and wolves. So there's a fight that breaks out. Zilan and Co kind of try to deal with it, and Zilan decides that, you know what, like, he's just going to handle it himself. He feels that, he can do that. So once Zilan is kind of left alone, he hears footsteps and a stranger appears. He can't see because he's, wearing a veil. And so the stranger basically guides him along the forest, and through an enchantment. There's also some rain that happens, yes, and so, but, Rui, Zilan's kind of weapon, I guess, pet, I don't know what Rui is, a silk band that comes to life, I guess. He hits, he hits a mysterious stranger, and, and then he disperses into silver butterflies. And according to the land, these are the most beautiful silver butterflies he's ever seen in his life. So then, on to chapter 4. So, Mountain Log Temple, Forest of Hanging Corpses. So Zilan finally reaches the Temple of Minwang. That's the temple that's, where there's some problems. It's an abandoned temple, and that's who's supposed to actually be guarding the region. But they only have a temple of Nanfeng there. But he's not alone for very long because some of the villagers are now able to come up to the mountain, led by Xiao Pinto, who's kind of the village hothead. Like, he's very aggressive. He doesn't care. Like, he just wants easy money, basically, and he thinks that by getting the bounty or fighting the ghost grim that he's gonna get lots of money. So then we also meet another character. He doesn't have a name. He's just a small boy who has bandages wrapped all around his face. We don't know why at that point. But Ping Tao immediately wants to blame everything on him, because it's easy, right? Like, he obviously looks terrible. And so, it would be easy to convince people that, he's the one causing all this, but he's a very small, timid boy, so it's, like, unlikely. So then we find out, during later on, like, in the chapter and stuff, we actually find out that the problem has been caused by a wraith named Wan Yi. She was actually a female general, some time ago. She became a wraith after she couldn't deal with her resentment at not being loved by General Pei, who we don't meet in this chapter. We meet his junior, General Pei Jr. That's what his name is. And so Wang Yi was a female general, and General Pei, the senior General Pei, they were basically on the opposite sides of a war. Now, Wang Yi's side didn't win. However, they started an affair, and Wang Yi really wanted General Pei to, like, just fall in love with her and just be loyal to her. But that wasn't necessarily in General Pei's. That wasn't his nature, and so he couldn't. And so that led to the resentment. And so anytime she saw a bride smiling, she, she would attack them and, to try to get revenge on smiling women because apparently to her, General Pei likes women who smile. So, we do have our first death. Well, we have two deaths, but I don't really care about, Ping Tao dying. He had it coming. Just kidding. No, but I care about, Yao Ying unfortunately lost her life in kind of I don't want to say useless way. I mean, she was trying and she had some courage, but, I don't, obviously, she didn't need to do that, but, you know, it happens, I guess. It was really sad, though. I was sad. And then we find out who the mysterious stranger is. He is the person that the heavens fear most. Hua Chen, Crimson Rain Salt Flower. And then they go back to heaven and they, try to get everything wrapped up. So that happens. Yeah. So that's where we are in the story. Obviously, we still don't know a lot about Zilan or Hua Chen. In the last chapter we read, the boy has something wrong with him. We don't know what it is yet. We're going to find out in chapter 5 what's wrong with him and why Zilan had that reaction that he did. We're going to, maybe, and we don't know why Hua Chen at this point treated Zilan so gently. There's also a glossary in the back of the book that I don't get to during my read through. So let me just go ahead. I'm gonna see how much we can do of the summary. So we obviously know who Zilan is, and we know who. Well, let me just read you Hua Chen. So Crimson Rain, he's part of the four calamities. We'll learn more about the four calamities in chapter 5. A fearsome king of ghosts and terror of the heavens, dressed in his signature red, he controls vicious swarms of silver butterflies and wields a cursed scimitar known as Eming. He first gained infamy by defeating and humiliating 33 gods in combat and burning down every last one of their temples in a single night, dooming them to obscurity and oblivion. His power and wealth are unmatched in the three realms, and for this he has many worshippers as he does enemies. Although he is an enigmatic figure who can shapeshift into any form to avoid detection, his butterflies have recently been sighted in the mortal realm. So, that's who he is right now. Fenyan, who we already met in chapter 2, He's the martial god of the southeast. He has a sharp fuse and foul mouth, so he likes to curse. And especially when it comes to Mu Ying. But he's pretty dutiful. He's known as a hardworking god. He does have like we were talking about, he has a complicated history with Zilan. He actually was the one who stayed with Zilan after they were exiled to heaven. He stayed with Zilan for a bit, but that didn't last very long. We don't know what happened. We don't know what caused their fight, but they did not end up staying together. And he was Zilan's bodyguard, which I did not mention before. So Fu Yao, he's a junior official in the middle court. So like the lower court, really, but like because everyone would feel bad if they were said, "Oh, I'm from the lower court," they just call it the middle court. I didn't really get to that either, so sorry. But just so you know, he's hailing from the palace of Huayan. He comes from the palace of Minwang of Huayan. He likes his habit is to roll his eyes. He likes to do that, and he's not very loyal. There's some instances where he just kind of like leaves Zilan to just face whatever. But there may be a reason for that. Obviously, his general does also have a past with Salon, so we don't know exactly what happened between them. But apparently, it was a bit more awkward. So let's see here. Linwen, you've already met. She is the top silver god, so she knows everything about the gods. She's kind of like the intelligence. She's the head of the intelligence bureau there. You know, she's just very straightforward, and gets the and likes to get the job done. So that's who she is. Mu Ying, he is the martial god of the southwest. He also has a sharp tongue. He's spiteful and petty. And he also has a complicated history with Zalon. So Mu Ying was actually a servant boy for Zalon. Like, he would get his water and things of that nature, and he would sweep the floors. So, but Zalon, when he was still the crown prince, obviously saw that Mu Ying was a very hard worker, and so he basically asked, his state persecutors to allow Mu Ying to study cultivation. So, there's that. Let's see here. So the only one that I think that's left is Nan Feng, who is a junior official of the middle court, hailing from the palace of Nanyang, Fen Ying's palace. He's upright, he's very serious, and just also swears like a sailor. He's loyal. He's the one who was willing to stay with Zilan when he was fighting with them, and willing to stay behind. And also, it seems to care more about Zilan in general than anyone, at least as of right now. So, let's see here. We're going to, I think, so yeah. So then I just wanted to tell you about cultivators and cultivation. So just kind of give a brief kind of explanation about that. So cultivators are practitioners of spirituality and martial arts who seek to gain understanding of the will of the universe while attaining personal strength and extending their lifespan. Cultivation is a long process marked by stages. There are traditionally 9 stages, but this is often simplified in fiction, so they don't go through the whole thing. Some of the common stages, so I'm going to go ahead and go through them. So it's chi condensation. So it's like chi refining. So it's like that inner aura. So you have a foundation establishment. You have a core formation, or golden core, as it was called, the untamed. Nascent soul, deity transformation, great ascension, and heavenly turbulation. So heavenly turbulation is basically right before you ascend to godhood. So before you ascend to godhood, you go through trials, basically, to see if you can kind of make it as a god, or get to that point. So it could be anything. It could be fighting in a war. It could be solving riddles. It could be anything of that along those lines, as long as it's very difficult, and only you would be able to come out of that into godhood. So there's a little bit like that. So I think so far the novel seems pretty good, obviously, because I loved reading the novel, and I was so happy that it got an official English translation. So I hope you enjoyed I hope you enjoyed this video of the summary of the story as so far that we've been reading. And then there's another big news that's happening in Danmei land. So if you know, Seven Seas here, this publisher is the one that's been picking up the licenses for novels like Heaven's official blessing, like Master of Demonic Cultivation and Light Scum Villain Saving System. However, they did announce that they would be picking up a big title, Tuha by Meat Bun, and so that has everybody really excited. Now, the novel had gotten a live adaptation that was going to star Leo Liu and Arthur Chen. Um, However, due to China's ban on bromance, it's very unlikely that that's going to air. At this point, I mean, things could change, obviously, but as far as now, they finished production about 2 years ago, so as of yet, no word as of when it actually could air or if it's going to. So, I don't know. But anyway, um, people were really excited that Seven Seas was going to officially license Tuha. Now I don't. To be honest, I'm very new to Danmei land. I just really started reading Danmei when one of my friends on Twitter provided me a copy of the whole Heaven's Official Blessing novel. So I started reading that, and then that got me into more Danmei. So, I'm still very new, and obviously finding translations is very difficult sometimes. They're not always complete and things of that nature. However, there were some Danmei fans who honestly aren't very pleased with Seven Seas. Apparently, the quality is poor, and the translations are a bit off. Now, I don't speak Chinese, so I don't know about that. As far as I know, the books have been translated correctly. Like I said, I don't know, and I wouldn't presume to know. Um, I definitely though think that just in general, it is good to have some competition because it because when there's only one company providing translations, ultimately consumers aren't going to have a choice about where to buy them because you can only get them from that company. And so yeah, I do think that that would maybe perhaps make the company less incentivized to do it correctly. But I don't know, let me know your thoughts. What do you think about that? What other companies could potentially pick up Danmei in the future? What publishing houses would you like to see pick up Danmei, to make it more accessible for people? Um, but like I said, it's always better to have more options available for people, and that should, lead to better quality if that's an issue. Like I said, I haven't found anything wrong with them, but I really don't know, because this is, I think I've been into Danmei for about like a year or so. So I really am very new to it, but I just love it so much, so I just wanted to share it with more people. So that's basically why I started this channel. Um, but I do hope that we get more publishing houses interested in picking up Danmei once they see that it can sell a lot of copies. Um, you know, so that's always good. I mean, it's always good when companies see that something can make them money because then they'll be more willing to invest in that product. It's just how it goes. It is unfortunate because you'd want them to see the artistry in it, but it's really just about money and if they can make money off these products, which they can. I mean, Danmei is a very big, is a very popular genre of literature, and it's I mean, I enjoy it a lot. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I will be linking I will be linking Heaven's Official Blessing, and I also will be linking the pre-order for Tuha if you want to pick it up. I think it's going to be released in October on the 22nd, so there's still it's still a ways away, but the pre-orders are open, so I'm going to go ahead and link that for you in the description box. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do so. That means a lot to me, and leave this video a like. Also, if you have enjoyed my content and would like to support me, you can buy me a coffee, or you can also become my patron. I do have a new Patreon, or you can support me there. I will, the perks that I'm giving as of right now is a special shout out to thank you for being my patron in the beginning of the episode, and also just sending you some recommendations that I have for my favorite books, or just creating a personalized reading recommendation list for you. You can also join my Volley. Volley is a new app where you can communicate via video call, via text, via photo. It's really easy and it's really fun to use. I've been using it for my own purposes, and I really enjoy it. So it's a mix between Discord and WhatsApp, if you're familiar with those two things. And it's free to download. I do get some money if you decide to download it, but it's up to you. Just letting you know that I do get some money if you decide to download it. Also, with my affiliate links from Amazon, if you buy through them, I also get some money off that as well. So if you would like to support me that way, then that would also help. I'm also going to be doing a Let's Play on Saturday the 19th. I was going to do it from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m., but I'm thinking of Pacific Standard Time, but I'm actually going to be moving the time to 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I had a conflict there, so I'm just going to push it back an hour. So we're going to be playing Dream Daddy. If you've never heard of that game, it's basically where you are a single father and you meet like 6 single dads as well, that you kind of see who you mesh with and end up in a relationship with. So, and you're a single dad of a teenage daughter. So it was pretty fun. Yesterday the game is pretty enjoyable. It's pretty easy to play, so I liked it a lot. So if you're into that, you can definitely join me this Saturday from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. My video on Friday, where I'm going to do an author spotlight. My first author spotlight is going to be Jane Austen. So I'm going to go over her works and, tell you my opinions about which of her novels are worth reading. I mean, I personally think all of them because I love her so much, but I'm going to be more objective about it. So hopefully you enjoyed this video today, and I hope to see you all on Saturday. Bye!